Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Pottsville Maroons press conference / podcast. I'm Dave Barr. I'm the owner and head coach of the Pottsville Maroons. And this morning, what I would like to do with you guys is run through our season one or 4 matchups, talk about the matchups themselves, and give predictions, and set the stage for future broadcasts where I'll dig into it a little bit deeper from a coaching standpoint, and maybe give you some insight into the matchups and what I would be looking for if I were preparing for these teams and if we were playing in real life. So the first matchup that I want to talk about this morning is the number 2 ranked Dakota Bucks versus the number 3 ranked Scotland Legends. I was listening to the podcast with the guys in our league the other night, and I'm using their rankings, their Power Poll rankings. I have to admit that I think that Scotland is underappreciated in terms of their talent. They had a great draft, possibly, in my opinion, the best draft of anyone in the league, and that's no discredit to anybody else. We had a lot of good players, but they had some fortune fall their way in terms of who they're able to get. I think you're going to find that they have the best secondary in the league, in addition to having 2 really good wide receivers. And that's going to present problems for other teams because none of the rest of us can defend their receivers in the way that they could. So they should be able to defend throwing games from other teams this year because they will be able to outman them in terms of their secondary. I don't know what kind of pass rush they're going to be able to generate, but I think that their secondary is going to be quite possibly the best in the league. Dakota, as was mentioned on the other podcast, I think they're built for the future and maybe not necessarily right for the present. Their overall team speed is not great. They are big up front. And so I think in this early matchup, I'm going to have to give the key to the bid to Scotland. Let's talk about a couple of their players. So in Dakota, they have quarterback Mac Chima, and I know Noah is pretty excited about him, having scouted him, and feels like that he has, once some polish is put on him as a passer, he has a chance to be a really good player. His top targets are going to be wide receiver William H.W. Macy. I have some theories on what H.W. probably stands for, and I'll get into that the week that we play Dakota, but I don't want to, ruin that for anybody right now. Ray Colston, I think, also will be a big part of their offense there in Dakota this year. And I did want to give out a small shout-out to one of the old WFA personalities who made the transition over onto a roster in the WFL. I mean, I just would be remiss if I didn't mention defensive lineman Rocco McLovin, who is an underappreciated talent and, probably will be a leader on the defense there for Dakota. In Scotland, they're led by quarterback Hugh Janus. And Noah, I know you wouldn't feel good about this podcast if I didn't make some sophomore-ish reference. So I'm just going to go ahead and say to everybody else who's getting ready to play the Scotland Legends that the key to defeating Hugh Janus is deep penetration with your pass rush. So you want to keep that in mind as you're building your game plans going forward. Nolan Pierce is their running back, and I am really interested in seeing what happens with Nolan's build. He is a big running back at 6'4", 250. But in his build, he built him around the ideas of agility and speed. And so it could be devastating, or it could be a complete bust. I don't think there'll be any gray area with Nolan's build. I know that body weight is a factor in the physics of the game. And so from a standpoint of a combination of speed and size, the potential there is for this to be a very good player. But if it comes down to his ability to put his foot in the ground and get north-south when he's headed towards the sidelines, the weight might work against the speed part of the build. We'll have to see about that. I did also notice that they brought over from the WFA, Hilton Kilchuck, and he has moved from quarterback to tight end. It begs the question: is he the Tim Tebow of the WFL? Are they just trying to find a place, any place, for him to play on that roster? He has a wide variety of athletic skill. I wouldn't be surprised to see him be the personal protector on their punt team. And maybe there's going to be like a tight end reverse pass once we get into that aspect of the game when Maximum goes to full access later on this year. We'll see. It's definitely going to be an interesting situation for Hilton in this league. As far as my prediction goes, I see this going Scotland's way. Dakota is across the board athletic and big. And so, I think the big thing for them is to be able to be close in the fourth quarter, and then maybe they get a block punt. Those seem to come up an awful lot in the game this year with Maximum. So if they get a break at the right time, might be the possibility for an upset. But I'm going to go with Scotland in this game by a score of 28-17. The second game that I want to discuss with you guys today is the matchup of the West Virginia Wild, who are rated number 1, and the 8th-ranked Cincinnati Reapers. That 8th ranking is probably temporary. I think they'll play better than that as the year goes on once they get things together. Right now, it's going to be a struggle for them. But what I know about this with high school football teams is that desperation sometimes makes you a dangerous opponent. And Colin, who likes to run a lot of sims and be very well prepared for his games, has to be scratching his head, excuse me, about what he's going to see this week. Who knows? I mean, they might even break out the muddle huddle or something like that, run the old wishbone. Who knows what's going on there? I've heard all kinds of rumors about them having some alternative offense. I know they are led by, in Noah's opinion, one of the very top prospects in the league with Andre Pope, and they also have a very good running back with Big Papa Dre. I'm not sure that the short week, so to speak, in terms of their preparation is going to be helpful for them, but the mysteriousness of this football team, maybe there's an advantage hidden in there. Of course, we all know the West Virginia Wild is led by Colin Pierce, who was a 37-time champion in the WFA. At least it seemed like it was 37 times. He works hard at his sims, and he's thinking, I think with this roster, he's thinking about the long-term build for what this team will be like. So he drafted guys that he knows from other leagues, and guys that he trusts to be around for a lengthy time. They're going to play well this year, I think, but their best football is really ahead of them as those guys progress. And so it's kind of a wake-up call for all of us to try to get out there for S2 and find guys that we know will stick with our rosters over the long haul, so that we can progress our players in the same way that's going to take place there in Huntington, Charleston, Morgantown, wherever it is that they're centered from, Beckley possibly. Who knows? Maybe they're going to play their games in Ashton, West Virginia. You guys should look that up on your map and see where that is. It's a fun place. So they're led by quarterback Colin Pierce. They also have a top-flight wide receiver, Ryan Roosevelt, who is a closet Pottsville Maroon. He likes to poke fun of us, but the truth is he wants to go home to his Eastern PA roots. Come home, Ryan. Come home. Also, Graham Hicks, who is a big target as a tight end. The Hunt brothers, both Rob and Ryan. Rob will be playing on the offensive side, another nice target as a wide receiver, and then Ryan will be leading the way for them on defense. I thought it was a smart move for them to play a defensive tackle. It seems like in video games that defensive tackles can be impact players quickly if they're rated high. So I'll be interested in seeing if that plays out in this game as well. And then, of course, Golden Logger just makes me, as Chad said earlier, the name just makes me thirsty. He'll be back there patrolling the secondary for West Virginia. Now, if you notice here, they've invested heavily on the offensive side of the ball. Makes me think that Colin has probably sprinkled some of his owner points over on defense to try to make up for that. But the truth here is that Colin wants to score 80 points every game, and he's more concerned with putting those points up than he is with playing defense. And I think this dates back to his days as a split end with the Wahama White Falcons. He probably was hoping that we would throw it 60 times a game so that he could catch a slant pass and try to make a big play out of that. The key here with us as we prepare for West Virginia in the future is knowing that he wants to be explosive offensively. We have to keep the ball away from them, and we've got to play good defense. And that'll probably be a recipe that we see all year as teams prepare for them. If you can keep the ball away, cut down on the number of possessions that they have, get a break here or there, then you have a chance to beat West Virginia. If, however, you let them get in their no-huddle offense, if you let them be successful throwing the football, then it could be a long day for you because they're going to try to make it into a track meet. The third game I want to talk to you about this morning is our matchup with the Buffalo Blizzard. I looked over Buffalo's roster extensively as we were preparing for them, and picking playbooks and that kind of thing. They do a lot of things well, but not really a lot of things great. And so if they are consistent in their execution, they're going to be a handful for us. We are going to try hard to run the football and lead the league in running the football, and we're also going to try to be very good on defense. That being said, that's not the way most video games are constructed. It could be that we are a project that will play better football in the seasons to come. We'll see. I'm pretty hopeful. My Sims have gone really well this year. So let me run through some personnel here. Felt that Alexander Fowler, the quarterback for Buffalo, was good at a lot of things, but not great. The same thing could be said about Aiden Teixeira at running back. Both of those guys, as they progress, are going to become great players. But time will tell what they look like over the course of this season. I did notice that when in Buffalo's roster build, they gave all 5 of their wide receivers 80 for speed. And so it looks to me that, maybe their thinking is that they're going to try to spread the field. Wouldn't be surprised if they've selected air raid for their playbook. They have a great big offensive line. And that's probably due to the influence of Derek Jenko, who likes big linemen. He has a tight end build in Leland Taylor, who's a big target as well, and probably will figure heavily in that offense. I noticed that they brought over Malachi Fist from the WFA, and it begs the question, where is the other Fist brother? How is Buffalo going to double fist anybody if they don't have the other build on their roster? Guys, maybe you can get that corrected before the next season. Malachi Fist needs Mordecai Fist. We'll see how that goes. They are good at linebacker, and I also noticed that they picked up Devin Say. I actually had a plan to draft him, and the picks just didn't fall. In the rotation of picks, I kind of wonder if I shouldn't have gone after him earlier. I think he is a prime build, going to be a great defensive player in our league, and can't wait to see what he's able to do there in Buffalo. For Pottsville, we're led by quarterback Alex Darr, who is really athletic. His ability to run with the football is as good as his ability to throw it. And so we wanted him to be dual threat this year to try to open up things for us where he could make, if he can't make the play with his arm, then when we have a pass play called, we hope that he can make a play with his feet. We also have Dweezil Givens, who is going to be one of the fastest running backs in the league. And we hope that he can get up in there behind those big offensive linemen of ours and pop out the backside and, create some big plays for us in that regard. Quick 6, we were looking for a wide receiver who could blow the top off of coverage. He will be one of the fastest wide receivers. We spent points on him in terms of his speed. and in hopes that he could create big plays, especially as Maximum gets their play-action passing plays corrected as time goes by. If you notice, if you have the misfortune of having a play-action play called, it often in this game ends in a sack because the quarterback comes off the fake and holds the ball, and then rarely does he get the ball thrown. Sometimes he gets out of there if the rush lanes are right and is able to run, but those plays right now are kind of a hot mess for the Maximum game. So we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited about my two tight ends, Jeff Duffy and Levanier Pinecroft. Duffy's build is going to be really a fantastic target for us in our power run offense. He's going to work the underneath routes. He's had lots of catches in our simulations, and so I'm real hopeful for him. He's also going to be more than serviceable as a blocker. With Pinecroft, we tried to make him our utility knife on offense. So one of the great things about the Maximum game is it does let you move people around on the depth chart. So tried to build him to be able to do a lot of things pretty well. So he's got some good points spent on him as a runner, but he also has points spent as a receiver and as a blocker. So we're going to move him around in the offense, both as a tight end when we're in two tight end sets and as a fullback when we get into two-back sets in our offense as well. Okay. The other user build we have is my build, Charlie Berry. He's named after the kicker from the 1925 Pottsville Maroons. He kicked 3 field goals when they beat the Notre Dame All-Stars led by the Four Horsemen, which ultimately led to the NFL being crooked and taking away their 1925 championship. Come on, NFL, give it back. The Cardinals aren't any good anyway. Take the flag away and send it to Pottsville. We did bring over some names from the WFA. Wanted to share those with you. He's not a user yet. I'm in the middle of trying to get him signed up to become a player for our league, and that's our fullback when Levanier is not in the game is going to be Martin Radosevic. Martin played fullback in college at Urbana University. He also played some tight end there, so I have him listed as our third tight end, I believe. And so, he's going to be a little bit like Levanier in terms of he's kind of a utility player and should be good for us. I also, as was mentioned by Noah, somebody there in Pottsville invented a time machine, and we were able to bring back with the use of some steroids to bulk him up a little bit, the starting line for the 1925 NFL champion Pottsville Maroons. So for us at left tackle, we will have number 23, Russ Hathaway. At number 2, we will have, at left guard, we'll have number 2, Frank Racis. And at center, we will have number 4, Herb Stein. At right guard, we will have number 7, Duke Osborne. And at right tackle, we will have number 13, Russ Stein. Those guys played a lot of football in 1925 for Pottsville. And so we wanted to honor them with their actual jersey numbers and their names as we pay tribute to the 1925. It's been 100 years since that championship, and so wanted to honor those guys with our with their names and their jersey numbers being in the game. I think they're going to be a key part of. I spent points on our O-line, tried to help them out, and then over on the defensive side, we tried to bring back a few of our names from our WFA version of the Pottsville Maroons. So. Gary Nicholson has agreed to move from quarterback to defensive end for us. He'll still be wearing number 14. He actually played quarterback for me at Roane County High School and played both positions. He was a warrior as a player and one of my favorites from my career. The other defensive end is Larry Barr, who is my dad. He was a tight end in the WFA and has agreed to move over to the defensive side of the ball for us in our WFL version of the Pottsville Maroons. Then, along with that, are a couple of my boys, Alex Davison, who is dating my daughter. He's going to play outside linebacker for us. And my son, Matt Barr, who hopefully will be leading the way for us as a middle linebacker. Our cornerback, Nadeem Taher, who I failed to mention there earlier, but he is really talented, has great speed, has a great defensive IQ rating, and I think he will be a staple for us for a long time in the secondary as we try to build around him. He will be the only user build we have in the secondary. But I did bring over a corner from the WFA by the name of Chester Hayes, and so we'll see if we can hold down some of these high-powered offenses that are going to throw the ball a lot this year in the WFL. The last game I want to talk about, and then we'll be done here for the day, is the game of the week, which features the Michigan Marauders, who I will give credit where credit is due. That is a fantastic-looking uniform that they're going to be out there in. The color scheme is awesome. Love the logo. Love everything about it. And I've been kind of paying attention to activity in the server and noticing Nathan Felichte and Millen Tells. I'm guessing they know each other from somewhere else in the world, maybe in the SFL, maybe some other league, and seem like they get along great. I wonder if it won't create, if the ball doesn't get thrown to Tells often enough in a game, could there be some locker room drama building there with that particular team? This team also is young, and I kind of wonder if they will struggle a little bit in their first year. But those two especially are going to be great centerpieces for that team going forward. Munich is led by Top Kiefer, who has really a lot of experience in the sim football world and knows what he's doing. He has Devontae Moore and Kevin Say, his quarterback and his running back, leading the way for them on offense. And, I think that's going to be the centerpiece of what they do. I'll be interested in seeing what they pick for a playbook and what they do with it. I noticed on their roster they've got the Snagit boys, junior and senior, and I think it's pretty remarkable that one of those guys was able to get into good enough shape at the age of 40 to continue playing football, while his son probably has plenty of spry legs at the age of 22. It'll be interesting to see the wear and tear of the season and what that does for Dad, and whether or not he can continue to be a good player over the course of the season. They also are hallmarked by a very big offensive line, and so it makes me think that Kevin Say is going to get plenty of carries and should be a prime prospect for them. As far as my own predictions go, of course I gave you Scotland beating Dakota 28-17. Let me run through these other games again, give you some potential scores there. So I'm predicting Scotland 28-17 over Dakota. The Buffalo-Pottsville game, I sort of could see that one being low scoring. But I feel like we pull out the win in that. I'm going to say that we win that game 19-17 on a last-second field goal by Charlie Berry. With West Virginia and Cincinnati, I feel like West Virginia's cohesion as a team is probably going to be to their benefit in this first game. And if they can take the knockout punch that's going to be delivered by Cincinnati in the first quarter and can put together 4 solid quarters, then I see them winning by a score of 38-30 over Cincinnati. In the game of the week, Michigan and Munich, I think it's probably just a little bit too much metalheads and not nearly enough Marauders. And so, as it was said in one of those Rocky movies, Michigan's going to find out that they need to dig a little deep in this game, and when they do, they're not going to have a big enough shovel. So I sort of see Munich controlling this game, and I think probably a similar score to Dakota and Scotland. I'm going to go with Munich 28 and Michigan 17. Okay, so this is my Chad's probably making fun of me right now because he can't believe that I was able to put together a podcast. And look at this. I've got a background with the logo and everything. I put my hat on so that I could cut down the glare from my bald head, Chad. I know you're digging that right now. So we'll be doing more with this, and I'll get set up where we can have some guests on, and I'm looking forward to getting into a little bit more fun stuff. Colin does a great job coming up with a podcast. I'm hoping he'll help me with some ideas. But for now, this is Coach Barr with my thoughts on week 1 of the season 1 of the WFL league. Good luck to everybody, and feel free to rip me up in Gen Chat. That's what makes this fun. I was really laughing hard at all the stuff that was said in the live show last night, and so thanks to everybody. I think this is going to be a great league. Really looking forward to having a good time this year, and let's go Maroons.